Talk show. Recorded live.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be across the nation or around the world. Once again, you're listening to the VMware Community's Roundtable podcast. This is podcast number 632. My name is Eric Nelson, and with me today I have my favorite co-host, Corey Romero. Today is Wednesday, January 18th, 2023. Corey, how you doing today, and what does it look like up there in Utah?
Oh, man, it's crazy in Utah. I think we've had a total of 5 or maybe 6 days of no snow in the past 5 to 6 weeks. We have dogs roaming the neighborhood because they're literally walking across fences where normally it would be like a 6-foot fence. But yeah, it's been crazy. It's all good, not complaining. Absolutely love the snow, and we definitely need the water. Other than that, everything's great.
Good. Same here in California. The last storm came through yesterday. I think we had 6 to 7 weeks of straight storms, and so it was a fun wintry holiday, and it's great to be back. It's great to be doing podcasts for 2023. On the show today, we're going to have some of our favorite community members from Europe come join us, and we're going to talk about 2023, kind of go through some fun topics around what's happening in community and what community members can be doing with their home labs and cloud and some other topics. So it's great to have them. We'll do a speed round intro to all of those on the podcast. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about weather. Yeah, just so you know, we had the wettest California since 1867. So our reservoirs are going to be full. They'll be overflowing in April when the snowpack melts. The snowpack is like 22 feet deep or something like that. When they show cars driving through, it's like over the tops of 2-story houses up in the Sierra Nevada. So record snowpack drought will probably be declared over sometime when all that melts off. And we're happy to go through that and not flood away. Corey, I know you got some VExpert stuff going on, so maybe we should just go through that, and then we'll get going with our guests.
Yeah, sounds great. So VExpert News, I've sent out a couple emails over the past couple of days, so make sure you read those. Applications for the 2023 program are going to close on January 27th, and that's going to be 8 a.m. Pacific time. So a little bit different time this year, but just remember 8 a.m. on the 27th, they will close. So we are targeting a February 17th announcement. So stay tuned for that. In the emails that I sent out, I believe this one went out on the 11th, was Pluralsight. So Pluralsight is paying VExperts $1,500 for session videos. So go read the email from January 11th and to see the details on that. We do have an opportunity to participate in a 2-minute home lab videos. That email went out a little while ago, so there's a sign-up form if you're interested in doing that. We will market your videos, your story, and your content via Twitter, similar to what we did with the VExpert applications with some of the feedback on the VExpert program. So similar to those videos. Intel, as you know, we did a deal with Intel, so we partnered with Intel to give away a 10-pack of Optane drives per person that qualified. So we are exploring the idea for doing this for Europe. I know we did US only, so now we're interested in seeing who is interested in signing up in Europe to do this. So if you qualify, so qualification means, depending on how many sign up, as well as, are your social media platforms up to date? Have you been blogging, producing videos, active on Twitter, other platforms of your choice? So that email just went out just a little while ago, so go read that. And if you're in Europe, go sign up for that.
Awesome. Been a busy time for you, Corey, right? Between the Intel hardware and several different briefings so far this year. Like it's off and running. So excited about that. So cool. All right, so moving on, let's get to our guests and let's talk a little bit about what's happening in community in 2023. We came off with the outstanding VMware Explore in November, where we expected to get 3,000 people, and we ended up with 10,000 people at VMware Explore. So the community has been kicking butt over there in Europe, and everybody was excited about that. And in fact, so excited that they are they announced that they're going to be doing VMware Explore in Barcelona again next year. So in 2023, and that was not something that Broadcom had committed to, but the results were so compelling that, of course, Broadcom's like, yeah, we're gonna keep doing these. This is, why would we not? The numbers look great. So let's introduce our guests. So we'll kind of do speed round. We got 4 guests here: Garth, Alexandra, Lino, and Wooter. And I'm not going to even try to say last names because that's just too many to mess up all in one podcast. So let's just, everybody, what you get is like 35, 40 seconds. Who are you? How do you say your last name? And what do you do in the community? Where do you work? Just give us a little brief about that. We'll start with Alexandra. Why don't you go first?
Hi, thank you, Eric. So I'm Alexandra Todorovska. I come from a small country in the Balkans in Southeastern Europe, Macedonia. And I've been working in IT for, well, close now to 5 years. I've started out as help desk, and I'm actually a self-taught engineer because by formal education, I'm a lawyer. And yeah, how I've started out is by teaching myself with a lot of courses and, of course, building out a home lab to help me progress more.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think of all the people that have been on community podcasts and given us their career arc, I don't think I've ever heard lawyer as what I used to be before I decided to be, a tech geek running computers. So that's pretty cool.
I guess I'm a unicorn.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
want to say that it's inspired for women that want to be in tech. And Alexandra is the first expert in Macedonia, is the only one, and we're so proud to have her here today.
Yeah, that is awesome. We'll go with Lino.
Hey, hi everyone. My name is Lino Tolera, and I'm from Italy. And like Alexandra, my formally I was graduated in food technologies, and then I moving on IT since I was really young. So this is my passion, and I'm a cloud architect, and I'm working in a certification authority in Italy. And I'm a focus on infrastructure automation and DevOps space. And so,
all right,
yeah.
Nice. Lino, my
Yeah.
one comment is Stefania, who is a marketing director, she works on our team, and I made the mistake of actually thinking she was from France when in fact she was Italian, from Italy.
Yeah.
That's a mistake you should never make. I've learned that the hard way. Do not tell somebody, oh yeah, you're from France. How's Paris doing? Right? They don't like that too well. All right, we'll move on. Yeah.
I know her, and she's really amazing. Yeah, she's nice. And so for me, my surname is Telera. If someone
Telera, yeah. Good. Wooter, we'll give it to you.
Yeah, so I am Wouter Kirsten. I've been in IT for many years. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm having some performance issues here. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I'm having some challenges with my laptop at the moment. It always happens at the right time, right?
Of course.
But yeah, I've been in IT for 20 plus years, doing things with VMware, being certified for over 14 now, I think.
Nice. Yeah. Well, you've been here. I always call you Wooter, but it's Wouter. You tell me that every time you do the podcast, you tell me, remember, it's like a router, not a router, right? So I'll have to remember that. So
Wouter. It's close enough.
Wouter. But it's close enough, right? There you go. Yeah, your claim to fame is you're an upstairs office like me, and you have a skylight that looks about like my skylight with a little bit of drywall, and it's like a cool thing. And if I actually were to rotate my thing up, you would see that I'm in the same boat. I got like a half-built skylight in my upstairs office. So there you go. That's what that.
Well,
and finally,
the window frame itself was replaced. Just this would not. So.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Got that. Garth, why don't we do you, and then we'll get on to some good questions. So Garth.
Yeah. So, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, great.
Yeah. So, I'm Gareth Edwards. I'm one of the vExperts based out of the UK. A few may know me because I do the kind of the vExpert Pro program, helping mentor people through there. And that's kind of, the whole reason I do it is a bit like Alexandra. I kind of grew from the IT help desk all the way up through. I'm actually now a VMware solution engineer. So again, if anyone's ever thinking, will I ever get there to the mothership, that big dream role, it can happen. I used to be the guy at the back of a VMUG who wouldn't even say boo to a goose. And it all started from just one talk, a lightning talk, to a next thing, to creating a home lab webpage, to creating a podcast about home labs and technology. And it just spirals from there. It kind of, you get that passion, you just keep going. So, if there's anyone out there who wants some inspiration, I'm more than happy to help them.
Nice. I guess I'll start with the questions that we talked about doing for 2023. Like, it is exciting in that the pandemic has kind of wound down, or it's at a level that I feel like it's a good flu, but you could still go out and do things and start to engage with people and not risk dying, right? So it seems like now we've come to the point where we can get back out. And I got COVID when at VMUG Europe. At Explore this year. It didn't kill me. It was a light cold, and I plan on going to other events and engaging. So Garth, I know that you're a vExpert Pro, right? Are you expecting to engage out in the ecosystem this year more normal? Me and Corey have talked about, do we approve vExperts even though they haven't been out enough because the pandemic was still locking people in? So where do you think we're going in 2023?
For me, I think there's been a shift in dynamic. The normal social media channels aren't always the things. So when I'm mentoring people, I'm asking them additional questions. What have you done over and above your job role that you can maybe share with me that you've done with a customer? Or maybe do you have an internal intranet that, you can't share it externally, but could you just maybe send me a few screenshots? And, again, I'm a VMUG leader, so it's like you start reintroducing people to those. Like, I've got to give a call out to the Japan VMUG. I'm actually wearing the hoodie. Those guys are on fire. They're doing lightning talks every so often. So it's trying to engage people back to, as you said, those VBeers, those communications, just brief updates, just thinking of doing things in a different way. But yeah, it's going to be hard. A lot of people have stopped blogging. A lot of people, don't think they're worthy. And it's just reminding them that, we don't always have to be right up there on the social channels. What other ways are you doing to share the community message? Is it lunches or meeting as a community? It doesn't always have to be visible straight away, but if you can help us signpost us to those things, we can kind of help you with your application. I think, is that fair to say, Corey?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, I did send out email with the title COVID exemption, or exception. So we are offering that absolutely by case basis.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see some of that as well. Starting just to hear some conversations about that. So yep.
All right. So Lino, do you get out of your office, and have you seen it start to pick back up?
Yes, I'm starting going out of my offices, and for example, tomorrow I will be in Rome for a meeting, but I think that today is important to start meeting again people in person, and so we have as a even if as a employee or a community member of I am also a VMUG leader, and we are planning some events. We want to run all these events in person, and for this in this time I think that it's really important to reboot and restart the traditional engagement of the guys around the country. And so we are starting planning some events, as I said, and we are also planning the UserCon, which is one of the for our VMUG community is one of the most important events in the year. And hopefully me and Water, we are also good coaches, and also we are hope to do something more practically more real during this year, because this is our hope. So last time
Okay.
we missed the time where we did the hackathon, and so it's yeah.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Wouter, what's your impression here for 2023?
I, I've already been traveling. The Dutch VMUG was in person already last year. It will be again in person this March. I've been to the Belgian VMUG as well last year, and I will go there this year again. I hope to present at a bit more VMUGs. I'm actually releasing a tool in a couple of weeks at the VMUG Virtual EC Day, and I hope that I can show that at some more VMUGs.
Nice. I know that we're talking budget for VMUG because I now try to help get budget from VMware over to VMUG in my new role with VMUG. And one of the things that I've tried to do is earmark like 50K extra just to encourage community sessions at usercons, right? So that we can get a more mixture of community sessions at the usercons versus there's always VMware sessions. We always get speakers there. There's always partners that are there. But the idea of getting the wouters out there or others, that have kind of community stuff to say at these is something I'm interested in. Alexandra, I'll loop back to you at the end here. What's your thoughts of 2024? Did they let you out of of your office, and do you get to participate throughout the country?
Well, yeah, actually, 2022 has been the reboot year, it seems, for most of us, and everything will probably go back in the more traditional sense of in-person events. Unfortunately, we do not have a lot of VMUG events here locally. There is not that much of a presence. I do hope I can help that and spread the VMUG spirit a bit, trying to gather some people and maybe organize a local VMUG here and make some events. So far, I think if like the opportunity arises and traveling is not way too expensive, we will see air travel how it will turn out this year. I will try to visit some other VMAG events throughout Europe. But it would be nice actually to have maybe some smaller sessions from other VMUGs throughout Europe or even the US or globally to be virtual still, because yes, COVID has kind of gone away, but still traveling is a bit expensive. It can be troublesome to organize, and especially from parts of the world where you don't have that much of a local presence of the V community. You turn to global, to the global, to be a
The live
global
streams.
audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is
So
interesting. We have talked about that even though we talk about coming back online and in person, we are also talking about continuing to do live streams and streaming, and how much do we go back to the office versus how much do we just stay streaming. And I know for VMUG, we are going to continue doing, even though streaming traffic was down relative to 2020 and 21 and 22 was, still strong. And so I think that there will still be plenty of virtual content. It will certainly live in a hybrid world going forward for people that are in places that they can't get to, volume content.
yeah, because we have some lessons learned from the pandemic that hopefully we won't forget, because a lot of the content and like right now that we can talk like this, it's because of those hybrid hybrid way of working in the pandemic, that got to us to this point that we can exchange ideas, exchange contacts, and continue that tradition. It would be nice to a certain extent.
I agree. Even we talked about how we did. Me and Julie were talking about how we used to do this podcast, and we used to be in studio, and rarely would we do a remote guest. Almost always, we just had local guests. But as soon as the pandemic hit, then all of a sudden we're on StreamYard. We have multiple people coming in. We have cameras. We have, and everything is seamless. And we're like, yeah, we're never going back to the way it was, because this is just way more efficient at getting global audience, getting global participants in the podcast. And so I don't think we're going to go back, but I think it is fun to also get people in person together. So
True, and I think like VMware Explore Barcelona showed that. It was my first tech conference ever, but it was an extremely rewarding experience because you get to really feel the community spirit there. It's not just like a cliche saying that the community is what matters at these events, but it really does, because you meet new people, and these are all people that kind of share the same interests like you, and it's really refreshing, especially after so much time being locked up for everyone at home.
right.
But even if it wasn't for that, I think it was probably before the pandemic. It was a nice experience to have and to meet people that way.
Right. All right, and with that, we'll switch topics, and I'll rotate through. So, home labs, there's always home labs, and vSphere 8's out now. I think at GA sometime in November. So everybody's probably starting to get their feet wet on upgrading to vSphere 8. And you have storage, we have networks, you have home lab, we have AI showing up. We have NVIDIA. I got recruited, probably all you guys did too, for NVIDIA's Bluefield DPU farm that they've got out there. So that's not really home lab, but it's like all of this geeky tech that we can engage with. I just wondered, all of us have kind of goals and aspirations for 2023 and what they want to try to do with their home lab. So maybe I'll start with Lino again, just because he nodded here. Do you have any plans for your home lab in 2023?
Yes. Let me say that I want to thank you for for the nuke I received in 2022. So I starting cracking my head on doing some stuff like more portable ways to have a lab because I starting traveling again, so I need to have something that I can bring with me, with me and use in the hotel or wherever I staying. I have also my on-prem lab here, but I'm planning to upgrade this lab to vSphere 8, of course, but I want to belong and move the scope of my lab in Kubernetes space with Tanzu and Tanzu Kubernetes Grid. So this is my main focus on my lab. So I'm planning also some upgrades. So let me say I have to settle on my budget. My wife agreed to spend some monies to upgrade my lab because this is my my job, this is my life, this is my passion. I don't ask anything, but I want my home lab, and home lab is one of the fundamental piece of my work.
Yeah, it is. It is. The fact that you mentioned mobile lab reminds me. A year ago, I was traveling and I got stuck in the airport, right? And I had my backpack and I had Raspberry Pis in there. And me and an intern who was traveling with me at the time, we had like a 5 or 6 hour layover. We found a table and we built a whole lab right there on the table, plugged it in, had power strips, and we had Kubernetes running. And then we built little kind of cables, custom cables, and by the time we were done, 6 hours was gone, and that like it was time to catch our flight. And we're like, that was the funnest. Having a mobile lab, and you're bored in the hotel or you're bored in an airport, if you have something like that, you can geek out and you can waste 6 hours in a flash, right? Like 6 hours goes, and if you have geeky tech with you, you can have a lot of fun really quickly. So it is fun.
True. And I'm also starting blogging some tips on about what I'm doing, because it's not easy to set up, but I'm trying to find the right configuration to have the lab that is working, or simply I'm not only viewing the virtual machine, but I can also work on that virtual machine to make some cool stuff.
Wouter, what do you say about home lab? I don't even know. You're a developer by heart. Do you have much of a home lab?
I'm a vSphere admin by art originally, so but I like doing my code things. I have my lab. It's already on vSphere 8. I had to order some new network cards because I don't like the X3, and those aren't supported with vSphere 8 anymore. So, but
Cool.
it's
All
hanging
right.
out
So,
there.
yeah.
I might need to replace some machines at some time, but it's cool.
You're one of those get started early overachievers, right? When there's the bell curve, you're at the beginning of the bell curve. I'm like the lagger way down at the end of the, like, I'll get to, my 7 upgrade sometime this year, and then maybe my 8 upgrade, year after next, right when it expires. That's the way I look at it. Alexandra, I know you mentioned having your own home lab, and I'm sure that's been exciting for you. Where are you on your journey when it comes to home lab?
Yeah, so so far I have 2 Raspberry Pi hosts running on vSphere 7, and I got that Intel NUC gift that we had on the Explore conference on vSphere 8. So so far I think I'm gonna keep at that version, but yeah, as well, like Lino, I would like to be able to access my lab from anywhere. I've actually been trying to dedicate each day some time to my home lab and committing to the 100 days of home lab challenge. And a vacation or a trip comes up, and for a few days I can't really do anything because I'm away from it. So yeah, I'm gonna be looking into somehow remoting at least into my home lab this year and making that my challenge.
Right. Nice. That sounds reasonable. I know that from my perspective, my wife watches my power bill, right? And so I do like the Max Tang Nook because it doesn't have a fan. It's pretty low. It only runs on 10 watts when it's not busy. And that's my other problem is I keep all these machines running, and the next thing you know, I'm spending $200 a month on power on these guys that I'm really not using. And so not downscaling, but I do pay attention to power these days, especially since energy has gotten very expensive since all the problems we've had with the energy across the globe. So keeping it small has its advantages, right? Especially if you want to keep something up all the time that you can access remotely. That's also nice to have something that's low power. So yeah, I'm with you on that. Garth, I don't know if you have home lab, don't have home lab. What's your deal?
Mine has gone on. I've gone like this on the bell curve. Mine has gone from being the Nux from many years ago, writing the things, to behind this wall. Actually, this side is a mini data center. Really, I've got a load of DL380 hosts, a load of NUCs, a load of Raspberry Pis, trying to do just about everything that I can demo off. And actually, I'm kind of scaling back down now and starting using features like DPM and things like that, and getting some little super micros so I can start consolidating down when I'm not using it. So I can kind of stretch my legs when I need to. And then I can shrink it back down to running on some of the NUCs, like my vCenters, and just little bits that can be there. Because one thing I'd love to do, and I think what we like doing in home labs, you've got kind of the scripts that, like from William Lamb, the auto build lab. And I kind of want to take that one step further and kind of do lab as a service. So if I do want to shut everything down, and I forget about it for a month or two, I can come back to it, run a script, and everything gets rebuilt. It's all afresh. It's all new. And dare I say, offer that out to the community, or dare I say, even offer my lab out to the community and build some nested stuff side by side. So people like Alexandra, who's maybe learning straight off, I can maybe lend her my lab for a week if I'm not using it, if I'm on holiday, and there's a lab there, all fresh, ready to go. That would be my goal if I can achieve it in 2023. Is create kind of a lab as a service.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah. I like that. did a hackathon a couple of years ago, I think with Corey, me, James Wormcastle, and a couple others, where we tried to do kind of a vExpert / community come in and grab a piece of vCloud Air, right, with your Twitter ID, right, so that you could come in and get access to servers, because vCloud Air was giving away 3-month trials, right? But what we did was aggregate them. We created like 1,000 trial URLs and trial email addresses, and then we plugged it into our system, and then it allowed anybody with a Twitter ID to come in and just get a VM, right, on that for free, and it would last a long time, and we could vMotion it to another user ID when that one expired. So we'd have a running, rolling list of user IDs. We didn't win the hackathon because I don't think the leadership liked that we were hacking their cloud environment. But it is kind of cool to have that kind of ability to have a cloud-based delivery of capacity right from your labs.
Yeah, we used to have the Ravello home labs for a while, and that was quite nice. So it was not a home lab. You had some credits for, and you could run some systems 24/7 in a lab-like environment. That was really nice.
Yeah, and that the reason behind the scripts as well to also help people stretch outside their comfort zones. A lot of us are vSphere admins, but we're having to learn things like AWS and Azure. And can this script just put up the minimum things that you can then start transferring that knowledge, so you can pivot a bit like Alexandra pivoted perfectly in her career? But can we help each other do that? If I want to move my lab from my home lab, could I run that in VMC on AWS or in AVS or Azure or Google, and just giving people the ability to pivot where they can, really.
Yeah, I would say as we transition into the cloud topic here, right, like that's one of the things that I've learned. Until you've actually run your workloads at different places and used it, you really don't know whether you can stand up and say, yeah, I'll bless that for my company, right? Like, so it is good to do this in your home lab and see how this stuff works, so that you can stand up with authority and say, yeah, I like Azure. I've run stuff there. I've put workloads there, and it seems to work, and it's not buggy. Versus, it only took us like a 1 week back in the vCloud Air days to say, this is garbage. None of it works. Nobody should put any workload here, because this stuff doesn't stay up for more than 20 minutes when we do stuff. So there is something to be said about testing out things.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, prime example, I've got a customer now, we're testing out some NVIDIA cards, and I got hold of one and shoved it in my lab. And we said, does it work? Yes, it does. Give me your app. Let's try it. They're scared of doing it on their production, but if I break my lab, I don't really care. Always give them the caveat, it is a lab. It's not enterprise grade, but it's a great way of demoing off things like, like the vSAN, the NSX, building, even doing stuff, pushing the technology to its limits a little bit, really living on the bleeding edge. That's the best thing I love about labs is doing stuff on the bleeding edge, or finding that really unique puzzle, or as you said, pushing it just to that odd use case and seeing it work is quite rewarding.
Right. Yeah, I get that. When we talk about, I hear Raghu say, like, look, it's about SaaS services, VMware SaaS, VMware Cloud, multi-cloud, cloud everything. Lino, I know that you have cloud architect in your title, right? So, yeah. Where do we think we're going to land in 2023 from the standpoint of cloud adoption? Is what Raghu's trying to get us all to do make sense, right? Are we all going to climb that mountain? I know we struggle with some of this stuff. Where are you on all this?
Yeah, I want to say that in my job we are still moving some workload from on-prem to cloud, and trying to find the right
balance.
Balance between cost and performances. So let me say that this is my opinion. It depends on the cases. It depends on the scope or what you want to do in the cloud. For example, if you try to move your application from the traditional application to the Kubernetes, we have a lot of ways to do that. So first start with lift and shift, and then re-architect your application or rewrite your application. It depends on time frame. It depends on let me say the application. And here I want to say that it's true. We should not see the virtual machine as the end of our perspective. We should see the application. We should focus on the application and then try to find the best technologies that are available in cloud or on-prem. It depends also by the regulation. And so another things I heard last year is the super cloud. So it's a operating model that you can run the same with the same operating model on-prem, in cloud, in some cloud providers. Probably for a lot of traditional companies that wants to move, they wants to simply move their workload from on-prem to the cloud. This is the great solution, because they are changing anything with their organization, and they easily move their application across many cloud providers. So let me say the cloud is going to be another commodity. And then let me say that in the company where I work, we are re-architecting all the applications. So we are moving completely the abstraction to the Kubernetes layer, and for this reason we have Kubernetes in different flavors. If you run containers in EKS or AKS or in Google, the workload is the same. This is the thing that we are working day by day. And but behind the scene, even if you are on-prem or in cloud, the mandatory technologies you must implement is the automation. So the automation is the key to go to the cloud, to stay on-prem, and so move your consumption in another layer.
Wouter, I'll go to you. What's your impression? Cloud, the application, managing your application, having apps that will allow you to do this. Where do you stand?
I live more in the UC world, so it's a mix. Some customers stay on-prem, some move to cloud, some do a mix. So they have a certain amount on-prem and then just still use the cloud for bursting for desktops. I think it's also all of it will be hybrid, I think.
Yeah, I could see that, where that, especially when you start looking at costs and it becomes real. It's kind of interesting when you first think about it. You go, oh, that would save us time and energy, and we don't have to be running our own servers and racks and cables. But then when you start getting the bill, you start realizing they've tripled the price on all this stuff, right? Like
Absolutely. I have customers that are in the process of moving to cloud. I also have customers that are moving back on-prem.
Right. Yeah. And there's a little bit of, from me, that I actually miss it, right? Like, so as soon as I put everything in cloud, I go like, well, that was fun, but maybe I want to pull some of it back because I kind of miss having this stuff local. There's trade-offs to all that. And on one hand, the grass is greener on one side. Then I look and I go, oh, the grass is green on the other side. And yeah, it kind of goes that route. It is interesting to see that.
Yeah, but I do agree with Lino that automation is key, whatever they do. Whatever the customer does, automation is key.
Right. Alexandra, any thoughts on cloud?
Sorry, I muted myself too long. So yeah, well, my view on this is a bit constricted because I only work with one company, and it's our environment is hybrid, but kind of predominantly running on premise, and I guess the cost will be the definitive go-to, probably for our workloads as well. I assume that it will be taken into consideration also the nature of applications and whether they will be better suited for one or the other environment.
What I'm going to switch subjects. I'm going to skip you, Garth, but it's okay because I'm going to hit you guys with a question that I didn't tell you earlier. Like when you're thinking about security, right? And I, as an admin, don't like security because it's very detail oriented. I like doing things. I'm an admin because I like to put things in servers and racks and and that, and like the details of monitoring and engaging and keeping track of a dynamic threat. I don't like that, right? So I tend not to want to spend time on it, even though we need to. What are you guys, Wooter? Where do you think, or Wouter? Where do you think? How much of our daily job is going to require us to spend worrying about security as we go into 2023?
Everything. You always have to keep security in mind. Period.
Yeah, I hate that.
I fight with our security. We have to implement things in our own product because of security that don't make sense in the usability case. But on the other hand, you also don't want to be named in a big hack attack somewhere. So
yeah, all right, I guess so. Garth, I don't know how much you run into it when your day-to-day activities and driving the experts.
Very regularly. And believe it or not, one of my old roles was actually a security auditor. So I'm probably the worst person to talk to about this. But for me, it's all about, if you've got clever architecture and you're placing your data in the most best bits, as you said there, like you want to keep some of your crown jewels where you can touch and feel them and you know where they are. It goes back to our whole cloud thing there, is that if your most important stuff is in a place where you know is secure, and if that happens to be an on-premise data center, then keep it there. Make sure that, and as cheesy as it sounds, is a lot of the time it's human error that causes security breaches, or people, being, manipulated in some way, with people trying to, we get all these bogus calls pretending to be Amazon, but people go and do that at a much, much bigger scale. There's such things as whaling, where they'll go after the CTOs and CXOs who might not be quite as educated in these things and try and extort them for passwords. So, no matter how good as techies can be, my simple answer to this is it's always human. It's always a human that will fail somewhere. They've left a door open. They've forgot to set a rule somewhere. Someone's tried to befriend them in a way and got some information out of them. And we've all got to be mindful of that. It doesn't matter if we go shove all that up in the cloud, because at the end of the day, if someone gets someone's password, it's no good anyway. Probably not the most technical answer, but unfortunately, I've been there and seen it, and I've been unfortunately taken part in some war rooms for data breaches, and they're not fun. And I've had kind of advised customers on stuff like this, as well as and again, we could go down a whole thing with with the ransomware. Is what do you do? That's another common thing now. Is what do you do? How do you protect your data, and how do you make sure that it is all in a safe place at the end of the day?
Yeah, I think that if I think about it, I think we all need raises because we all started as compute, right? And then storage entered in, and then we were compute and storage. We struggled through learning storage, and then compute, storage, then network, right? Okay, yeah, you got to kind of blend in the network now, and you might deal with the network admins, but then you deal with that. Then it kind of went security, right? Where all of a sudden security, now you had to be a security expert, you had to be a compute expert, a storage network, and a network expert. Now you got to be a security network. And I think in the last year or maybe 2 years ago, it became the application. Then all of a sudden, we're in Kubernetes and YAML files and controlling apps that sit on top of that. And how are those all happening? And you got to kind of understand this. Maybe you're not running all of it, but you are paying attention to it. And so, and now throw in cloud on top of that, where now you also have to do this in a multi-cloud environment where you have to worry about security, applications, storage, network, and compute all running. So we just need a raise, right? Lino, I don't know if you agree, or am I just whining?
Yeah, I completely agree with you, especially because, I'm working day by day with the security teams because, in my job, security is in our DNA. And for this reason, we are, because we are working in automation, we are implementing many security steps before apply or deliver the application in the Kubernetes space, in the Kubernetes layer. And the goal for the next year in 2023 or 2024, I don't know when exactly, is to implement the many zero trust way to to guarantee that no password, no secrets are run in clear, but always handled by another abstraction layer. And for this reason, one of the things that are moving in that side is because not all the workload is running on-prem. We have a mixed workload on-prem and cloud, and working in cloud, the security must be by design and must be you can't you can't do things in cloud without taking care of the security, of course, but we must simplify the security.
Yeah. All right. The last topic for the show, they announced VMware Explorer 2023 in Barcelona again, which is great. Wouter. You were I think you were there, right? Like, so,
yeah. I was there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Excited to do it again. What do we think we can do better? What was really great about it this year? And are you excited to be going back again?
I'm excited to go back again. It will probably be my second time as a vendor there. I do think that they might need to plan for a bit more people coming there, because I think it was kind of crowded at times.
I told everybody you had to, by the second day, if you regged, you had to register with a buddy, and then you had to put them on your shoulder, because that was the only way you're going to fit when you
something like that. Yeah, I guess the estimations on the audience were a bit low, but the atmosphere was good, I have to say. From the exhibition floor as a vendor, the vibe was really good. So
yeah, I know that they had planned on not doing it again, and that's why they had planned for only 3,000 people. That's what they thought they were going to get, because of COVID and lots of stuff, travel restrictions, travel budgets, all that. And so then this was going to be the last one that Broadcom was not going to commit to doing other ones. Broadcom saw the USA event and they went, well, we're going to definitely do the USA event, because, they got like 9,000 people at the USA event. And then they were like, yeah, we're going to get 3,000 at Europe, but then it turned into 5,000, then turned into 7,000, then it turned into 10,000, right? And you actually had more in Europe than you did in the US, really, when you look at the numbers. And so that shifted everything. It made it crowded, but it also made it kind of fun.
I definitely had a lot of fun there. Definitely.
Yeah. So that was good. So Alexandra, your first one, what were you expecting versus what you got when you ended up there?
Well, to be honest, I think like maybe it's the same for others, maybe not. But at first, I only thought like there would be a lot of content, a lot of good sessions to learn from. And then I was basically torn between all the content and sessions and to get everywhere all the time. And something that stuck with me were the VMware code community sessions. So that was, I think, my favorite part of the whole event. And those sessions over there were really kind of for all levels of people, and you could really find sessions that could really relay the message to whichever background you're coming from. And especially, I hope there would be more sessions like the one that was done by you, I think, and Bill Roth, about the things that you were doing.
You're just sucking up now. Yeah, that's you're just doing nice things. It was the event team came to us afterwards for this year's planning and said, yeah, we want to do more community / V Brown Bag / code sessions, because those were the most crowded, most attended, most liked of all the sessions at VMworld, right? So So that was nice of them to say. They always say that every year, and then every year we ask them for more space and more session space, and they say no. But I think the community area with the Max Tang giveaways, Corey, I thought that was like super busy, super fun. The fact that we had hardware to give away was also fun. The fact that in Europe, you guys got lucky in Europe, we had all the extra ones. So if you didn't register, but you were there, you could put yourself on a queue. And how many did, Corey, you unmute yourself, how many did you actually give away extra? I think like hundreds, right?
Yeah, it was quite a few. It was a lot. Yeah, it was quite a few. We got to, we emptied all of them. So
yeah. All right. So you don't remember the list. I think
no, not off the top of my head. No.
I think we had 80 some people on the overflow list, right? And people would come up and go like, "Oh, I didn't register for my Mexang. I want a Nook, but I can't get it." And we're like, when we had 15, we're like, "We're out. You got the list, and you're number 17." They're like, "Oh, cool." When they came back and they're like, "Oh, you're on the list, and you're number 68," right? They were like, "Oh, rats!" And if you ever get on a waiting list and you're number 68, good luck.
It's not good.
That upgrade. That's right. That's not going to be. But because we had saved all the extras in the U.S., we didn't do that. In the U.S., we said, sorry, if you're not on the list, you don't get it. And we decided to ship all the extra units to Europe so that we would make sure we had enough for people that signed up for Europe, because we weren't sure whether they were going to give us budget to buy any additional ones for Europe. So we kept all the extras in the U.S., shipped them to Europe. They gave us extra budget in the last minute. They gave us the budget we were supposed to have for Europe because the reg for Europe was so high that they went, "Oh yeah, we're going to have budget. It's good. Here you can." They told me I could have bigger boot space. I could triple the boot space, but you can't do that. When they told me that, I think October 22 or something like that, they told me they could have all the money I wanted. And by then it was too late. I told everybody, no, you're going to just have to have a buddy and register and put them on your shoulders. But we did get extra Nooks. And so, yeah, we were able to give away. I think we had 105 spares that I think we gave everybody one that came afterwards and got one. So that was a lot of fun.
There were only 2 V experts who didn't get one. Who came in, showed up the very last day.
Yeah.
And we put in some effort to go, okay, people come in now. Even I got one, and I gave my original one away to Alexandra. So
yeah, there you go. So that made that space fun for sure. So Alexandra, you did pick up that it was a kind of a fun space to be at. I think the talks were fun. So it was fun, and hopefully we'll have bigger spaces next year that will allow us to do more of those. And in fact, typically for that area, we would have 2 studios, one designated for code and one designated for the community talks. We did that in the US, but I was out of budget in October, so I could only afford one big area, bigger area. And so we didn't do 2, but next year we will actually have 2. We'll have one for code and then one for community as well. So
it was really nice also that you shared what you've done with the Max Tank, and I hope to see more sessions like that from even other V experts to kind of share scenarios of what they've done in their home labs, and maybe others can replicate that. It just gives ideas on what you can do, what you can learn about, and okay, yeah, that's possible. Someone else did it. Maybe I can also try it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You give me an idea for my submission.
Yeah. Likewise. Likewise.
Right.
Good.
I know we're at the top of the hour, and so I will be respectful of that. We do we're on YouTube, youtube.com/VBarbecue, VBARBECUE. You can go look at and see what Alexandra, Lino, Wouter, and Garth look like. If you want to see their mugs, they're fairly attractive people. You can go give us a like and a follow if you want to. We post our videos there. V Barbecue, traditionally we've done that. Tony Foster, I don't know if you're on the call.
He is there.
I'm here.
Do you got any V Barbecue for us, bro?
I do. So do you want the classic or do you want the bizarre?
I want the bizarre.
Okay. So first barbecue of the year was here about a week and a half ago. And here in the States, they have these little things called breakfast nuggets that have sausage and egg and everything in them. And you're just supposed to microwave them. And you have basically like microwave chicken nuggets for breakfast.
Right.
Those are actually pretty good barbecued.
Oh, interesting.
Really
threw 'em
interesting.
on- yeah, I threw them on the grill one evening as I was preparing some steaks and a few other things, and just to see what they'd turn out. And they're actually pretty good barbecued. So
Now do you use coal on your barbecue, like and put Kingsford, or what do you do?
yes,
Yeah.
I am a charcoal purist. If I wanted to use propane, why don't I just go inside and fire up the stove?
That's great. That's great. All right. Well, that was a good one, Alexandra. Because you're from a strange country we've never heard of before, right? Do you guys do barbecue in your country? And if so, what's your favorite?
We do, yeah. But when charcoal was mentioned just now, the first thing that occurred to me is that we have this traditional food that's made with red bell peppers. It's called ivar. It's basically those bell peppers are kind of barbecued and then peeled and then made into a spread that we
Oh,
usually
yeah.
eat during the winter in jars. And like I said, when charcoal was mentioned, the first thing that came to mind is that when you buy a store-bought ivar, it's not the same like you've made it yourself because it's not made on charcoal. So now it's not something that you do as a traditional barbecue, but yeah, that came to mind, so I wanted to share that.
That is cool. So we got barbecue chicken nuggets, and we got a smoked spread that is a pepper that is peeled and then mashed into a spread. And if you do it on charcoal, it's pretty good, I guess.
Yeah,
Awesome.
the wood gives it a special flavor.
All right. Before we end the show, anybody else have anything from a barbecue perspective you'd like to share? I don't want to exclude anyone.
No, I don't have anything.
No, there you go. All right. Cool. I did some Traeger. I did ribs on a Traeger. It was pretty good. It was when one of the storms hit, and so I had to be out under an umbrella, right? And what I learned about when you're smoking ribs on a Traeger, that's like a 7-hour activity, but you have to add in the fact that the rain is hitting the Traeger, cooling it the whole time. And so I would run out of pellets in my pellet hopper because it requires so much energy to keep the barbecue at 225 degrees over 6 hours because it was pouring rain. We had rain forever. It's been, like we talked at the beginning of the show. So that's kind of fun. That was an interesting thing to barbecue on a smoker in the rain requires a lot more fuel. So that's what we got.
I've done a turkey once. Similar here in the UK. It's raining all the time. Stereotypical. That took about 6 hours in the smoker, constantly trying to feed it coal, rain, put stuff over it, put an umbrella over it. Yeah. it's hard work.
Yeah. The temperature outside and the conditions do affect the barbecue. With that, guys, we're at the end of the hour. It's been great to be back in 2023. Good to see everybody. Looking forward to hearing about what you guys are working on, whether it's software, vExpert Pro, just doing your own home lab stuff, or our migration to the cloud. All of you have a role in that. Thank you for being great community members in Europe, and looking forward to a good year. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for having us.